Hello everyone, I'm here today with a flip-through video. I am doing day 1 of my staycation, Twin Cities. So that's what you'll be seeing today. I do want to just show again, this is the album I'm using. This is an album from Echo Park that I bought in the fall. It's very fall themed. What's a little bit different about this is it only has 2 rings, whereas like the Citrus Twist and Allie Edwards and some of the other albums that are on the market have more rings than this, either 4 or 6. This only has 2. So let's get started here and look at my opening page. I do have a process video for this as well. This one, I kept it pretty simple. I had some background paper that came in a fall kit I had. This all came together. These 3D items are all from Creative Memories. They were from a set that I had a couple years ago, I think I went to a Croptober event, and they gave that out as like their goodie bag item thing, and I just held it and really never used a lot of it, but it worked well for this. So I was able to use 3 of those pieces of ephemera on there. I added just a little enamel dot to bring in some more purple over here. Easy title here. These were alpha stickers that I had for a while, and I was loving the fact that I could use purple. And then this, I actually have a stamp set. I'm going to show that here again. This stamp set right there. So I was able to use the phrase that actually says staycation. And then my first full page here is me in the car. This was an interesting day because this was actually the last day at one of my jobs. I had a regular full-time job and then I have 2 teaching jobs. And this was my day job. And it had just become too much to handle. And so this was my last day. I worked till noon. And then I went right from there to kind of take care of the Airbnb stuff where we're staying. And then go pick up my friend Robin from the airport. So I did, again, simple paper in the background, some ink splattering there. I had this tag handy that actually said something that would work with what I was doing. Couple little stickers here. These are from, I think they're old Allie Edwards ones from some travel kit over the years. So this was pretty easy to put together. My next page is a 4x8 insert. And as you can see, I've got sequins down below. So there's a pocket here that's 2x4. And so I was able to just make a nice little sequins mix there that would match both this and what's on the other side. And because I had already made photo collages for this, I did a 4x6 collage in the Project Life app. So that's how I made that. Dropped in this digital card. This is actually, these are physical items. So I had a tag that was available that I cut to fit there, and then just a little sticker. And on this side, here's my other photo collage. I did a chipboard item there to fill up that empty space. And then of course you can see the sequins both sides, it's showing through. And I love the color mix and how reflective some of those sequins are. So I'm really happy with the way that turned out. I suppose I should mention our first stop of the day is we went to the Arboretum. So we have the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum here. It's way out on the western edge of the Twin Cities, so it's kind of a haul to get there. I don't go as much as I would like because of that fact. It isn't like, oh, I can just jump in the car and be there in 15 minutes, like one of the other options I have, which you'll see later in the album. This one is, a good 45 minutes, maybe more from my house. A little bit less because the airport is part of the way there, so that helps, and that's partly why we chose to do that first. The timing just worked with their hours, and then we were already on our way given where the airport is located. So you can see here there were still lots of things blooming, and this was October 10th, so we had a very warm summer and fall. Like, it just had everything stick around later because of that, which is great. However, it meant the leaves hadn't turned yet. Normally, we would have been at peak or past peak already at that time of year. But because we had such warm weather, it was not. We still had pretty much all the trees green when she was here. So, kind of sad. I was hoping she'd see better color. But can't predict weather and when the leaves are going to change. So over here, these are just some more outside displays that we saw that we really liked. And I did some journaling about the Arboretum itself. This was one of my favorite things, though, this pumpkin tree that they put together. I loved the design of it. The colors looked great against that bright blue sky. All I really had to do there was put on this tab. That's it. And then we went inside the main building. That's where you can get a map and brochures about what art exhibits are there right now. And the restrooms are there. And there's a cafe and the gift store, all that stuff. So we decided to go in there, and they had that decorated as well. This was much more rustic looking. So it was kind of fun to be able to see how they had it done up in there. And then again, I just wrote a little bit of journaling there. And here I had a tag that said October, and I just filled in the little hole with an olive green enamel dot. So that worked out really well. Once we were done inside the main building, we headed out to the display areas. So this was one of the biggest areas that we went to, so I wanted to get some photos there. You can see some stuff is not blooming. It was past its prime at that point, but there were still things going. There's a little bit of color in the trees there, but not a whole lot. So still very, very green here. And then I did pick up a full map, but I chose not to use it because I don't personally need that. I'm there enough. I know my way around. But I loved the front of this. It looked just beautiful, and I thought, well, I need to put that in the album because the colors are so pretty. It'll work with what I've got going. So I chose to just cut off the cover, and then I put a 4x6 card on the back that was fall themed. So I think that worked out pretty nicely. And then this is one of my favorite layouts. I just love the mix of colors here. Very yellow, green as the predominant colors, obviously, but then just hints of other little colors, like a very muted violet or purple. I don't even know how to describe that, but it's very, very muted, not bright at all. Plus there's orange in there and even a little black. And at first I thought I wasn't going to like that, but when I held the sticker up there to do the layout, I thought it looked great, so I decided to run with it. And because this had a pattern, I didn't have to do anything else for the background, which is great. And then here I just chose this card. This was a 3x4. I cut it down to be 2x2 so it would fit in there. And then here I had some scraps of yellow, so I just used that. Put this little pendant piece on there. I decided to bring in some of that black with just little enamel dots, and that one was done. And then the back side of this is also one of my favorite layouts because I love the color mix here. These are not traditional fall colors, at least not in my mind. So I love it that I was able to use this card here with all the different colored stripes. And I try to focus on kind of some fuchsia and purple flowers that we saw, which I think worked out well. And then when I built these, I just tried to mimic colors that were already in the card, because just because these are purple doesn't mean everything has to be purple. So I wanted to pull out like some of the aqua and turquoise. So I did that, and some of the pink, red. So I think that worked out. Pretty well. And I love the stacking of the ephemera pieces here. So then we were on to the scarecrow event. Every year they do different scarecrow displays and things that are up on a hilly area. So we went over there to take a look at those. And I took so many pictures there. I had to put them into collages, 6x8 collages, because there's no way I was going to do like 15 layouts of just that stuff. So you will see a couple of photo collages here in order to fit everything in. I dropped in digital paper, and then I just used some chipboard embellishments and phrase strips that I had on hand that were autumn themed. So similar over here, another collage. This one's very red heavy. So I did want some other colors in here. This worked out nicely. Then I could have some white and orange, but I did use a red heart embellishment there. But these were super simple to put together because photos were already aligned. All I had to do was fill in the empty spaces with the digital paper I had. And this was a unique display this year. I've never seen them do anything like this before. It was kind of fun. So it was a Dr. Seuss theme, and this was the Lorax. And again, there was a lot of purple here. So I took my chance, and I thought I'm going to use as much purple as I can. So I had this piece right here with some gold foil on it. I think this was a 4x4 card actually. And I cut it down to be 3x4 so it fit in there. And then I wanted to bring out the yellow since it was so bright. And luckily I had that. Some more photos from the different scarecrow displays. I really love this one. Again, there was purple in it, and I just found it very pretty with the mix of yellow in there. And then I happened to have this card with, again, that muted purple there. And I just added a sticker here that was with this set. It was meant to match this, so I just put it here to make it look a little 3D and not have the card be so flat. And then I happened to have this sticker from a Mambi. It was a Mambi sticker book, and I thought, well, the green matches, I'll use it. And then over here, there were so many dahlias in bloom still that, again, I had to do some collages or they weren't all going to fit. So I picked the best ones. This one was very sort of pink and red heavy, and then I wanted to put a pop of yellow in there just to break that up. And luckily, I found some ephemera pieces and embellishment things that worked in terms of color. And then here's another one on the back. This was very purple. Loving all the purple I was able to get in here. But again, I wanted to lighten it up a little bit, and there was yellow in here, very faint, here, kind of even around the center. So it worked well. To find this piece, I added some enamel dots in this kind of fuchsia color. One little thing, that's it. But I absolutely love the way that came together. Once we were done in the dahlia area, we went out to the farm area, and they had a pumpkin patch out there. So we saw some huge pumpkins out there. They have a red barn, which is lovely. It's very aesthetically pleasing. And so I decided to use this. I've kind of been hoarding that because I've had that particular set of chipboard for a while, but I just didn't have anything where it fit and I didn't want to waste it. And so this was the perfect opportunity to be able to build a card of my own and use that chipboard. And you can see hopefully on here too, I did a little bit of ink splattering there. And then I had this sticker again with the gold writing, which was perfect. When we were done at the Arboretum, we needed to get downtown Minneapolis because we were going to the theater that night. And on our way there, I knew like where we were going to park for the theater was close to a couple of other things. One of those being the memorial or monument that we put up. We had the 35W bridge collapse in, I think that was 2007. And I think maybe a year and a half, they put this up. So I had not been there since it had first been dedicated. So it was a long time for me. And my other friends had never been there. So we decided we would go on over there. So I wrote a little bit about that. You can see this right here. So the river's directly behind this. The bridge is sort of off to the right. And then this one actually has a flip up because I wanted to include some of the individual pillars. Each pillar that's there is someone. So someone's name is on that. And there were a couple of very tragic deaths involved in that. One of them being a mother with children. And so some of these are the mother and the children. But it's very moving. I thought it was when it was first built. It still is now. So I'm glad we went. It's kind of a heavy thing to do, but it is there. And it's part of Minneapolis's history. So I wanted to make sure that got included. Then here I did a special insert. I had picked this up throughout the weekend. I wanted to make sure I could use that sticker. I thought it was fun. And then here I found some circles, and they're glued back to back, so they're glued together. But I didn't actually adhere them into the pockets. They keep sliding around. So I think eventually I'm going to have to straighten them, get them placed where I want, and then put a staple in them just so they'll stay, because they just move around too much in there on that slick plastic. But I like the way they look. So, and then this side, I really just try to pull colors out of this rainbow card here. And I got lucky that I had two of those, and the sayings actually fit what I was talking about. And then just this big asterisk here that is acetate. And I can't remember, that might be Allie Edwards? I'd have to look to be sure, but I think maybe it is. And when we were done doing that, we needed to find a restaurant that was close, somewhere between there and the theater, so we could walk. So it was only a couple blocks. And we decided to try an Indian place. It was very close to where we were. And we all like Indian food, but we rarely eat it at home because other people in our households do not enjoy that. So this was the perfect opportunity to go out and have a wonderful Indian dinner, and we could all enjoy it. So we found this place called Clay Oven that was, I think it was only about 3 blocks, actually, really close to the theater. So I have pictures from that. I did some stamping both here and here. This was a newer stamp set, so I had to season my stamps and then do it, but they did great. Everything turned out the way I wanted it, so that was awesome. And then this one also has a flip up. And I was able to use this card And I love that it says local spot because this is a staycation for me. It was very much local. And then a piece of chipboard. I'm very picky about my Indian food, so I thought that was appropriate to put that on there. Our last stop of the night was at the Guthrie Theater. That's our biggest stage theater here in terms of notoriety. We have 3 other really big theaters in downtown Minneapolis, but this one is right along the river, and it's very established, and lots of awesome productions are done here. And I happen to have a credit on my account with them, so I used it to get us tickets to see A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. So that's what we were doing that night, and because it is right over the river, it has awesome views of part of the skyline, so we were able to get those. And I just really took some theater cards I had and then just did gold stars, which is kind of a cop-out, I realize, but it works. So in this, the playbill was kind of too large to fit in here, so I decided to just they had like a cardstock handout about the play, so I decided to use the back of that, which gives the synopsis and all the dates and infos and all that stuff, so that's on here. And then on this side, I just printed out a 4x6 theater card that I had, and I chose to do it on photo paper so that it had a nice shiny look to it. When I printed it on matte paper, like on cardstock, the color was completely faded and I didn't like it, so this was the better option there. And then here again, this is a different view from the theater, looking out a different window, but you can see the skyline of downtown lit up there. And I just used another theater saying I had, did some ink splattering. It's not the easiest to see. It's black with, slightly metallic, but it is on there. And then another one of those stars. And then there's the 3 of us together. That's before the show started. And then this was once we sat down in our seats to get ready for the show to start. So again, I just used one of the theater cards that I had available, printed that, and included it with another star. So that is all of day 1, which was a Friday. So she flew out on a Friday, flew out Sunday. So I have Saturday and Sunday left to go, and both of those days were extremely full. We were very, very busy, so there's lots more to come. Thanks for watching.